Hello everyone, welcome to this new video. So in this video, we are going to build a angular material table with sorting, filtering and pagination. So if you're already seeing my screen, I'll show you how the final output is going to look like. So this is a final table displaying a list of users. So there's some data. Alright. So as you can see, we have four columns: ID, name, email and role. So let's go through each one of feature one by one. So I'm clicking any column header. Okay, any column header. The table sorts the data in ascending order. So let's click on the name column. Oh, here, see, if you see, the name is John, Jane, Sam, Alice Brown, Tony Stark. So A has to be come first, right? See, right? So clicking again sort them in descending order. So now it is in ascending order. So if we click on here, if you see the arrow mark, it's ascending order. So now it is in descending order in the entire data. Okay, in the entire data. So we have want Max of T'Challa, Tony Stark, Thor, Steve Rogers. All right. So the sorting functionality is powered by Angular materials, which is called as mag sort module in Angular. So we are going to use that to perform all this. All right. So clicking again, or the third click is going to remove the sorting. The first click ascending order, descending order, and sorting is removed. All right. So and also we have something called feature. Okay, one more feature called filter or search feature in Angular. So now let's test our search functionality. Suppose if I want to find a user whose name starts with John, so if I type John, John, I got that user directly. So as I type, the table instantly filters the results to show only the matching entries. This works on any column over here: ID, name, email, role, any module, any column. Since our filter applies to the entire data set. The clearing the input resets the table to show all records. So here I have added John. If I remove this, we get all the data again. So I'll give you one more option. So let's say I want to fetch the users who are only admin. See, we no need to select anything. If you type admin, you'll get it. See, these are all the users whose role is admin. Alright, so if I type users or a user, so these are all the user. Okay, these are the user whose role is user. Alright, so let's say we have email ID. Let's say at example at shield at Avengers. Let's say I want to search an email ID with Avengers, AVEN. So here we got three uh, names which is on Avengers. So if I give any other email ID, let's say Stark, Stark, Stark. So now we got one more. I just typed a star. So we have two different email IDs, which is Stark Industries and Star Post. All right. So if I want to search by the name, let's say I want to search uh, banner, BA. Okay, we don't have banner. So let's say Stark. It says Stark. We got Tony Stark. All right. So a live filter using in Angular, which we are going to build at the end of this video. And one more feature, if you see, you can able to go on the next page like this. All right, next pages like this as well. Okay, and if you want to see, so now in the table we can see only five values or five data or five user data. So if I want to see like 10 user data, so just select 10. So here I can able to see 10 user data. If you want to see the 20, here I can see 20 user data. All right, so 20 is the max data have set in the data set. So that's we have only 20. So if I keep 10, all right, so 10 users displayed in the first page. If I go for the next page or the last page, so last page is also the next page, right? So this one. All right, so we got all the users. All right, so these are the different features we have or we can able to make using Angular material. All right, so this powered by Angular material. All right, so at the end of this video you're gonna learn how to build this from scratch. All right, so you can use this functionality in your projects, in the company projects, or in your own personal project, anything. All right, so this is one of the good video in the YouTube, I believe, so where you can able to learn this all this feature in a single video. Okay, so let's get started. All right then, so here I have opened a directory over here. So where Angular examples is a photo which I have created for all different Angular projects or the list of series project which we are going to do in this channel. And also you can download the code, or you can download the source code from the description. I have given the GitHub link. You can download from there. And if you have any questions, and have any question related to upcoming concept means, or the concept which you want to learn, so just let me know in the comment section. I'll get it for you. All right. So now, so let's create a Angular project now. Okay. So now here I open the command prompt in the command in the same directory. Okay, if you are using git bash also, that's also fine. So the command which we are going to give is ng is Angular ng new. Okay, we are going to create a new project. So I'm going to give the project name as, let's say, all right. So material, material table. Let's say I'm going to give us demo over here. All right. So just click on enter. So this will take a couple of minutes. All right. So before that, we need to select what type of style we want to use. So in my case, I'm going to use CSS, and we want to use static site generation. So I don't want to use this. So I'm going to keep it as no. And this will take some time to install the packages. So let's wait for that. Once it's done, we'll get started with our development. All right. Cool. As you can see, the project has been downloaded successfully. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to open this project in Visual Studio Code. All right. So before that, let's cd and the project material table demo, enter. And what I'm going to do, I'll just start the application now itself. So just give a command as ng serve. All right. So ng serve is a command to start our application. This will take some time to start. So now, would you like to use different port number? I guess there is one application which is already being running, so let me stop that for now. All right, so here it's been stopped, and let me run the project again. So ng serve over here, this will take. All right, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to open this project in Visual Studio Code. So let's click the right button, open with code, and here it's going to open my Visual Studio Code. All right, so like this. Okay, the first step what you want to do is just close this welcome file. So here you can see a three dots, or you can see a terminal option. Go for new terminal, and here select the command prompt. All right, so command prompt over here. So now first thing what you have to do is you need to install the Angular material. All right, so you need to install the Angular material. The command to add Angular material is, we are installing the packages. Okay, we're installing the packages. So ng, or you can give like this, ng add at Angular. You can install via npm modules as well, like npm install Angular material. That's also works. Even this also works. Ng add Angular slash material. All right, so material. All right, so this is going to give us all the features which we just saw. All right, so this will take a couple of seconds to download. And one more thing, there are few options which we need to select, like the template and everything. So yes, it says the package Angular material 17 will be installed and executed. Would you like to proceed? Yes, we need to give y. And this will take some more time. And here you need to select what type of, I mean, the theme. We have a inbuilt pre-built themes over there, so we need to select that, of course. All right, so we need to wait until that gets completed. In the meantime, what I'm going to do is, so what we'll do is, so let me give you information. Let's say yeah, yeah, that's fine, that's fine, I think. So in the meantime, till this gets installed, we'll open one more command from over here. We'll keep our data set ready. All right, so what we need to do, we need to create a service. Okay, we'll create one service. So ng generate, or g service, and service name I'm going to give as data. So as of now, we are not giving any connection to the backend data, so we'll store one temporary data in the data service layer. All right, so or in the service layer. All right, so in the same layer itself, you can give a connection to your backend database, and you can fetch the data from the backend, and you can display those data however you want it. All right, so if you see, this has been created. So source, you can see over here. If I expand app, here data service.ts, so this also file has been generated because two different files have been created, and this file is not required. So I'm going to delete this particular file and I'm going to open this particular file. All right. So we'll create one data set over here. Okay. So now I have already have some data ready. So I'm going to add the data directly to over here. So what you can do is you can pause this and you can like what you can type it down. So just very simple, I'll just type it down for you. I'll make it very simple. So we're gonna keep a method name or the function name as get data like this. Okay, so inside this I'm going to create one const of data, so where we have all the data. So inside this we're gonna store all our data like this. Okay, so I'm going to add, let's say I'm going to add about 10 different data over here. So I'm adding 10 different data over here. All right. So like this, and then this we need a semicolon. So here the data as is ready. And also one more thing which you need to do is, so once the data is ready, we need to return this, right? So whenever we call this particular method, we need to return all this data. So for that we'll write one return statement which says return of data. All right, like this. Okay, so this particular method is going to return this entire data. So we're going to call this method in the table so that we can able to execute this particular data. So now I'll come back to the previous command prompt where we'll get an option like this. So choose a pre-built theme name or custom for custom theme. So I'm going to give as, let's say I like more purple. So I'm gonna give let's say deep purple. Oh, but wait, we have still more option, but still I'm not sure why it is showing only one. Okay, so let me choose deep purple. Oh, what would I say? Yeah, deep purple or amber. Okay, so set up global material typography styles. So let's give yes, and include enable animations. Yes, so this will take some time to install it. So in the meantime what we are going to do next is we're going to create a component. All right, so we'll create one component called let's say we need a table component, right? So yeah, by the way this has been installed. So how to check whether this has been installed or not? If you go to our package.json and if you scroll on a little bit over here, you can see Angular material 17.3.10 has been installed in your Angular project. So let me close this, and we are not coming back to the data again because everything is set over here. So I'm going to close this as well. So what the next step, and this particular command prompt is not required, so I'm going to delete this, and just one is enough for me. So now we'll create one component. All right, so ng means Angular, g means generate, c means component, and the component name which I'm going to give as material table. All right, so this is a component. We can call this component anywhere we want. So a, a one component which is going to get the table data, this component we can use anywhere in our application or in any tabs of our project. All right, so here the table material or the material table has been created. So there are four different files have been created. So this particular spec.ts file is not required, so I'm going to delete that particular file. It's not required at all. It's of no use. So we have HTML component and CSS file. All right, so we'll get started. We'll start writing the code one by one. All right, so now what we want to do, we'll start making our first the design. We'll just creating our first skeleton over here. All right, which is inside material table component.html. All right, so let's get started with this. So now what we are going to do is, so here in material table we're going to create a table. So by the way, let's check whether our application has been started or not. So let's see. Okay, it's loading. Okay, what? Yeah, it's been loaded. So our application by default, when you create a new project for the first time, this is how it says, congratulations, your app is running. So all this code is present in our where in our just like, yeah, so in our app.component.html. So this is the entire code. What you gonna do, just select everything, just delete it. This code is not required. Let's say I'm just going to give one simple text, and the output is going to look something like this, just hello. All right. So yes, so now let's come back to the code again. So here material table, we'll design the material table. So here we'll design the table. Okay. So yes, so one thing, what I'm going to do, I'm going to call this particular data. Okay. So here we have material table.component.ts. The selector name is app material table. I'm going to copy this. So by the way, this selector is nothing but if you want to use this table anywhere you want to use this selector name, means I want to use this particular component in our main file. So app table and like this. Okay. So as of now this is giving error. The reason, because I'll show you, because the reason is, before designing our table we need to check this first. Okay. So what you want to do is come to app.component.ts file, app.component.ts file over here. So you need to include that component. Which component? Material table component. All right. So if you see over here, imports, so it says all imports are unused. So router outlet is not being used in our project, so this I'm going to delete it. We're not going to use that, so it's not required. So the only imports which we want to use is for now is material table component. So I'm going to paste that. Okay. You'll get an error, just for your mouse, quick fix, import. Okay. So this has been imported. So if I go to my browser now, you see material table works. So the name got changed. The material table works. How it came? So if you go to material table component.html, by default we have that particular text. So now whatever the table we create over here, that is going to reflect in this particular output. All right. So let's create our table step by step. Okay. Now let's type it. So div. Okay. I'm going to create one container over here, which div. Okay. So I'm going to use, I'm using in a bootstrap way, is equal to container like this. So yes, and by the way, I'm going to give all this code in the description, but just take care of this. All right. So yes, it says you can generate everything, but as of now I don't want to go in this way. I need to add few more things. So let me add that first. So I'm going to use something called mat form field, and it can able to generate. So I'm going to give tab face. This has been generated automatically. So now I'm going to close this tab like this. Okay. I'll explain this now. Okay, don't worry. So I'm gonna give one more label name, mat form, let's say mat label. Okay. So mat is something, mat is our what, our material. Okay. Our material, which the dependence which has been used. So I'm gonna give it as filter. Okay. So here I'm gonna give appearance as appearance is equal to, I'm gonna give it as outline. Okay. So this is a styling little bit. Okay. So now we have few more errors, so we'll check that one by one. So mat, okay, mat label is not an unknown element. Okay, we'll check that. So filter mat label and input mat type key up. This has been auto generated, right? So we need to check this once that everything is correct. So now this is not required. I'm gonna remove this. Okay, just event is enough. So app filter, we need to write the logic for this. So we'll wait for that. I mean, we're gonna do that. So it's the filter. So the filter I'm gonna use in search way. Okay. So I'm gonna give it as placeholder as a search. So we're gonna use this filter as a search. All right. So now let me explain what I mean by mat label. So mat label basically, oh sorry, mat label is just a label name. Yes. So mat form field, this is the main tag. All right. So mat form field or map form field tag basically is for filtering the input. All right. So if you see, if you are already seen at the beginning, so map form field basically we use for filtering the input. All right. So let's write the table. Anyway, we are getting error. We're gonna solve that one by one. So let's create our table. Okay, properly. All right. So let's come again. So let's create a table over here like this. I'm gonna create table. All right, so table, I'm gonna give this as mat or material table, and data source also I'm gonna give data source, because we have created our data source, right? Data source. And see, this has been generating automatically, so I'm going to give tab space and I'm going to modify it one by one. All right, see, our table has been created already. Okay, so we are getting this error. Let me check that once. Once you do everything. Okay, data source is data source mat sort. Okay, we don't want this class name, so I'm gonna remove this particular class name. All right, so this much is enough. Mat sort, data sort, everything we need to give the logic in and the material table common.ts, so we'll do that. Data source is done. So next, ng container. All right, so what I'm going to do here, I'm going to make it as id column. Okay, this is id column. So mat column defined, this is going to be our id, so which I showed in the beginning, right? So id, and this also I'm going to give it as id, and of element dot position I'm going to give it as element dot id. All right, so mat head silver, this sort header id cool to cell def. All right, everything is up to date. And the second column we need is the name column, which is correct. So name also is correct here, also the name is correct here, also the name is correct. All right, the third column which we are going to give as email column. All right, so email column, so this we are going to change it to email. All right, so just make change from wait to email, and here wait to email. All right, so element dot wait is going to be element dot email. All right, so the next one we're going to give the column, or the column is going to be a role column, right? So role, which is going to be like two tabs, um, the user and the admin. All right, so just change this to role, and the table is almost created. Role done. So the next thing what we need is tr table mat display columns. So display columns by row, yes, done. So and we are going to add something called the material paginator. All right, so the material paginator is something that we were using, or you just saw at the beginning, right? So where we can able to, let's say in the first page, five user data has been displaying. So if you want to see the next page data, you're going to click on next, and if you want to see the next page data, you're going to click on next arrow button. So that's going to be material paginator. All right, so material paginator. So what type of option you want to give? You want to give 5 rows of data, or 10 rows of data, 20 rows of data, or 100. You can able to give it over here. All right, so now you are learning everything. So show first last button, so everything is done. All right, okay, so our static table has been created. So let's write the logic and fix these errors. All right, cool. So now we need to see, we are getting all of this error, right? The reason because these are the different modules which we are using in our html. So our html is not going to understand what is this. We need to specify that this is material, right? Okay, so now what I'm going to do, I'm going to close all other files like app.com.html, app.com.ts. We need this particular file, so I'm gonna bring it over here like this.